Hey guys, what's up? How are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a quick little video, but it was something that I really wanted to do because it's on a foundation that I have just been absolutely loving and I felt like it deserved its own demo and quick review. It's the L'Oreal Infallible Shaping Stick Foundation. I've really been enjoying this. It's definitely one of my new favorites. I've been using it nonstop since I got it, and I feel like I can give you guys some really good insights and tips on how to apply it to achieve the perfect finish. So before we get into it, please make sure that you guys subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you can stay updated whenever I upload some new videos. And then also please make sure that you guys come follow me on Instagram as well, because you will always find me on Instagram when I'm not on my channel. Other than that, we can get into the video now. I'm starting off with clean skin. My skin is completely bare. I have a little bit of moisturizer on. I'm starting off with eyeshadow, brows, mascara done, but the skin is bare. And I'm gonna take you guys through the prep steps because I think prep is just as important as application itself. Okay, so I am going to start off with a little bit of the Kate Somerville Wrinkle Warrior. I've really been liking this as a primer. It's a little bit more hydrating, and especially during these colder months, it's just nicer to have something like this underneath my foundation. So I'm just applying that. I always like to use a little bit of an illuminator. That's just personal preference. You don't have to, but just so you guys know what I'm doing, I'm using the Bobbi Brown Extra Illuminating Balm. I have this giant tub of it. It's like so. It's like a really thick, hydrating, creamy illuminator. So I'm just gonna apply it and really work it into the skin with my warm fingertips. Especially when you're prepping for a cream foundation, if you really take the time to get the skin in the right spot, you can make a cream foundation look like it's not even anything on the skin. I like using a little bit of oil right now, and I've really been loving the one from Laura Mercier. It's the Flawless Skin Nourishing Rose Oil, and as you guys can see, it's so lightweight. It's almost like water to the skin. It just moves around so fluid in the bottle. It's amazing, super lightweight. But this foundation is so suitable for dry skin types even without the oil. So don't feel like you have to use the oil. That's just personal preference. I really like the way it looks on the skin when I put a little bit of oil. My shade, just for reference for you guys, is 407. I could do 406 if I didn't have a little bit of spray tan on. I have a little bit of remnants of a spray tan on, so I'm gonna go with 407. And this is how I like to apply. So I'll take my Laura Mercier oil and I just do one drop because that's all you need. It's so lightweight, and I'll just kind of move it around the face and really blend that into the skin, especially the spots where I get a little bit more dry, so around the nose and mouth. And I just make sure I get that nice and blended in. It really sinks into the skin so quickly, so you only have a couple seconds before it's like, okay, so for this, what I like to do is just directly swipe it to the skin. It's very full coverage, so a little bit goes a long way. And I like to blend it out with my IT Cosmetics Luxe foundation brush, and you will see it like disappears into my skin. I mean, it's incredible. Look at that. It seriously just buffs away into perfection. I wish I didn't have this giant zit, but that's actually kind of good because you guys saw I kind of broke out around my mouth. It's because I went to the gym and hadn't been disinfecting my phone for a couple days. I completely forgot because I ran out of Clorox wipes, and I was like, why am I breaking out around my mouth? And then I was like, oh my god, it's because I've been talking on the phone and my phone has been absolutely filthy. So disinfect your phone, guys. But those are clearing up, but like it just evened out all of the darkness that I had around my mouth from previous breakouts. It still has that like nice dewy sheen to it, so it doesn't like take away from your skin. It doesn't make your skin look older or crepey or accentuate texture. Even though it has some shine to it, it's not accentuating anything. It just looks so natural and hydrating on the skin. So here's one layer of the foundation. I think it looks so incredibly good. Like I am incredibly impressed with this foundation. You guys can still see like a little bit of my frecklage going on in this area, but that's fine. I like for those to peek through. I will show you like how I can kind of double up on coverage though. Like let's say I want to cover that pimple a little bit more, and then let's do like a little bit more coverage right on the nose. Whoop, buff that in so I can cover up a little bit of redness around the nose. My nose always gets so red. And then just kind of stipple it over that zit. I can't completely hide that zit because it is a raised thing, so it's gonna always be very 3D, unfortunately. But I can't get enough of this. It looks so good. It looks so natural. Like, even though I get the coverage and it's completely, you know, evened out my skin tone, it doesn't look cakey. And the thing I can't stress enough is that this doesn't feel heavy on the skin at all. Like, you don't feel this foundation on the skin. It's so beautiful, and it is the closest thing to the Hourglass Vanish Stick that I've tried, and I have sung the praises of the Hourglass Vanish Stick on my channel so many times. You guys know I love that foundation. It is so expensive, but this is honestly the same. Like, it's the same. It's so good. I can't get enough of it. Okay, so let's finish off with concealer and setting powder so you guys can see how this pairs with some concealer. I'm going to be using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer today. I'm using the shade Custard. And as far as I know, this foundation has paired really well with all the concealers I've used with it. So I've used the Jouer concealer with it. I've used the Cover FX concealer with it, NARS, and the MAC 24 Hour concealer as well. Those are the concealers that I have kind of on my rotation right now. I'm gonna blend this concealer in just by kind of tapping it in with my finger. And honestly, the foundation almost makes the concealer blend even more seamlessly into the skin. Like, the NARS Radiant Cream Concealer is amazing anyway, but look how seamlessly it blended into the foundation. This foundation it pairs well with everything. Like, I can't stress that enough. That's why I wanted to make a dedicated video on this foundation, because I really think you guys with a similar skin type to mine, where you're really dry and you kind of have to level up on all of those oils and creams and balms just to get something to work for you, I think that you would love this foundation. Yes, I did use creams and oils and balms in this video, but that's just because I'm extra dry. But you guys have also seen it used on my skin where I just use the foundation alone, and it is equally as incredible. All right, there we go. Concealer and foundation. Guys, I can't stress this enough. It just looks so unreal on the skin and just manages to give you all the amazing coverage without being too intense. Matcha break. So now that we've got foundation and concealer on, we can touch on the setting steps. So if you're someone like me with really dry skin and you typically don't ever use powder, I really feel like you're fine. You don't have to use powder with this foundation. I would say only set like the concealer and stuff, but the foundation I've worn without setting and I'm totally fine. If anything, I'll just put a little bit of a setting spray on top to kind of seal everything in, but I feel like it's not necessary to use a powder. But I know that most people do use a powder, and one of my favorites is the Laura Mercier Translucent Glow Powder. Kind of swirl it into the lid, you tap off the excess, and then you're gonna lightly tap this onto the skin, and it does give you a slightly mattified look, but you're not losing all of the shine, because you still want a little bit of reflection in the skin, because that's how it looks natural and dewy and, you know, just very skin-like. So you don't want to get rid of all the shine. So this powder is a really good pick. I'm gonna quickly do some bronzer and blush and highlights, and then we'll go over a couple more things regarding the foundation. Okay, now we can discuss all things regarding the foundation itself. So obviously you guys can tell by the name that this is part of the Infallible line from L'Oreal, which is amazing because the Infallible products have an unbeatable wear time. Despite not using, you know, primers, powders, or setting sprays, they already have great longevity on the skin. I find that with this foundation without a setting spray or a powder, I still get a solid 7 to 8 hours of wear, and you can really bump that up a few hours if you do do decide to use a setting spray or a powder. Now, if you have dry skin, I really don't think you'll ever need powder with this. The only place I could see you needing powder are areas of the face where the product can kind of slide around a little bit. So under the eyes, maybe the corners of the nose or the sides of the mouth. Parts of the face where there's a lot of movement, that's where you might need to use a little bit of powder. But I really think if you're dry, you don't need a powder with this. If you're more on the oily side, you probably will need to use a little bit more powder or a setting spray or a primer dedicated to certain parts of the face. Overall though, I think that this is a standout product on its own without needing something to help bump up the wear time. The formulation of the foundation itself is so ultra creamy and rich, and I mean, you guys saw it in action. Like, it blends out like a dream. It reflects back light. It's almost like it doesn't just lay on top of the skin, it really vanishes into the skin, much like the Hourglass Vanish Stick. It is really like a straight up dupe to the Hourglass Vanish Stick. I really think you get just a gorgeous finish on the skin. It's incredible. I can't say that enough about this foundation. It does have a little bit of SPF in it. It's got SPF 27. So I'm not sure how this would work in flash photography, because that is one thing I haven't done with it yet. So if any of you guys have worn this with flash, I am curious to know your thoughts. Generally, I do think that some that have a little bit less sunscreen tend to be okay in flash, so perhaps this one would be all right in the flash. Otherwise, the coverage on this is amazing. You can do anything from sheer to full coverage. Amazing, like flawless airbrushed skin. I think application wise, just applying it straight out of the bullet onto the skin, blending it in with something like this. This is my favorite foundation brush. It's the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Complexion Foundation Brush, or you could even use a beauty blender or just your fingertips because it's so creamy. You do have 30 seconds to a minute of playtime before this sets, and even when it sets on the skin, it doesn't lose its gorgeous shine, which is something that a lot of foundations do. They'll kind of set to something a little bit chalky and matte. That's not a problem with this foundation. It is just too good. Like, this foundation is just so good. Highly recommend it. Currently my go-to, currently my favorite foundation on rotation right now, and I feel like it really did deserve a video of its own because it really is a standout product to me right now. If there are any other drugstore foundations that you guys are super interested in, be sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know because I want to check them out. And this will definitely be in an upcoming dupe video for that Hourglass foundation. So a dupe video is on the way. You guys already know one of the dupes, but I will show them side by side in action in that dupe video so you guys can see how similar they truly are. So I really think check out the Infallible Shaping Stick Foundation if you're looking for something that gives you amazing coverage, but also, you know, just disappears into the skin and looks ultra natural and gorgeous, and just, I love it. So if you guys like my foundation recommendations typically, I think you'll really like that one. Other than that, guys, that's everything I wanted to hit in this foundation video. If I didn't go over something that you were curious regarding the foundation, all you have to do is hit me up in the comments down below. I will always, always, always do my best to get back to you guys. Subscribe if you didn't subscribe earlier, and don't forget to come follow me on Instagram because that is where you guys will find me when I am not on my channel. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye, guys.